to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How are you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that supports us on Patreon and the amazing spiritual community that we have on that platform, as well as every single person that sends us donations through PayPal. We appreciate, love you so much, and may multiplicity and increase be known in your life. There's a very interesting message that the Ancient Ones have been giving me, not just for the collective, but for me personally, for all of us personally. And the big question is, can we be trusted? Because as I keep saying, Babylon has fallen, the matrix is over, but it's continuing because of the energy that we continue to give to it, the energy that we continue to feed to it. We are the ones upholding it. And so can we be trusted to walk into, the new earth, the new horizons, and fully leave Babylon behind and not want to bring even a little tiny bit of Babylon with us? Because Babylon has been an extremely addictive system because it's appealed to our lower nature, our lusts, our desires, our wants, our fears, our hates, our loves, our, very base emotions that are very addictive because they're almost like, if you want to call them animalistic, although they're more instinctual, where they were given to us, for flight or flight, to be able to navigate, just on a physical level what was going on. But then they became the main navigation system for our life. And this has created a lot of confusion within us. And beloveds, I personally feel like the poles have shifted. There's many different seers that are saying many different things, but the poles have shifted. And literally the worlds have separated, beloveds. There are those now that are spiraling down with Babylon, and there are those of us that are spiraling up with the new Eden, the new earth, and with the new possibilities, in front of us. But we have to continuously refine ourselves so that we can continue to be elevated to handle what is coming, because really the mental and psychological abuse has been so intense. And if everything is about the mind, the three main minds, if everything is about that, it's really about cleansing those out, clearing them out, returning them to balance, returning them to the correct perspective so that we can navigate the seasons and times to come. Because you see, what's happening now is that the new world is being built, but as I say, it's a mental reality. And so for us to be able to walk into that mental reality, there's a certain level of agility we have to have. And there's a certain, we have to have let go of many of these misconceptions of what they like to call the 3D world, of this lower world, beloveds, of the lower Babylon system. Many of the foundational ideologies and philosophies that have really mashed us up and led us astray. And as we do that, you see, the way the Babylon system set everything up, it was a mental attack, much more than it was a physical ever. And so they have booby-trapped your mind with religion, with education, with, the social order of police and judges and law courts and corruption and all, just the way everything is. It's just a jumble of nonsense that is preoccupying a large part of your mind. But the thing is, it's such a corrupted and lower way of thinking that you have to be willing to do the necessary inner work to kind of release all those concepts and flush them out of your system so that you can, start to accept and be part of the co-creation of the new, more balanced reality, more wholesome reality, a reality that is full of love, a reality that is full of bliss and, good tidings and the highest experiences, miracles, signs and wonders, where we're going back to the Eden, we're going back to the paradise that was here, and many of us are walking back from hell back into heaven, because heaven and hell are both here. And even the Bible says, there'll be, I don't know who, at the pearly gates of heaven, and you'll be judged. And it was something that was also, it was something that was also very well known in ancient times among our ancestors, is that, they usually say at the end of your life, you would be judged, and to see how light your heart was, how much of the baggage of the past you'd been able to let go. And so they'd weigh your heart against a feather or something like that. And if it was, and if you were as light as a feather, you made it. If you didn't, you didn't. And you were forced to repeat the cycle so that you could come into the point where you could release everything for that higher upliftment. And so when our ancestors ask us, can we be trusted? It's more about, can we trust ourselves? Do we trust ourselves? Are we willing to have the necessary self-discipline? Because you see, there's a part of us, that will always have a small, there's like a small connection to the Babylon system. And there's a part of us where, because they elevated our lowest mind, our reptilian mind was totally, fully activated. Because of that, the flight or fight mind, it will always be there, putting doubt into our minds, making us question things. And we have to be able to drown all that out and continuously move with boldness into the new, into the new world and into the new reality, because that is what is required of us at such a time as this. And so when the ancient ones say, can you be trusted? It's, can you be trusted to come and really be a co-creator and a co-builder with your brothers and sisters, putting your differences aside and working towards unity? Unity so far for the collective has totally failed. Will it work now? And that's why I feel like there's a selection process going on. But you have to sit and ask yourself, can you be trusted? Because also, it's about being trusted to do the necessary work, being trusted to not be an impediment or obstacle to your brothers and sisters who are also ascending and elevating and clearing themselves out, doing the hard work, putting in the time to clearing your vibes, to elevating your spirit, etc., etc. And, can you be trusted to do that day in, day out, when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it? Can you be trusted to walk with boldness and courage, even when you're feeling afraid, and to walk through all those lies? Because then you'll see the truth and the lies crumble. But they put so much fear everywhere. And so we can't walk into, and there's someone where I read somewhere where it said, your new life will cost you your old one. And that is so profound, because that is what is happening. And you see, the thing is, the reason we ask, we are being asked, can we be trusted, is because we're going through a death and resurrection process as we live. We're going through a transition of worlds while we're alive. We're not going to check out and then check back in to the new world with a whole new storyline. So we're trying to go from brokenness to wholeness without, messing up the balance of things. And so it's not about anybody else. It's all about you. It always has been. Can you be trusted, beloveds? Can you be trusted? Do you trust yourself? How do we know if we can be trusted? I'll give you some points right after this.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to a special message from the ancient ones. They always say our ancestors and the ancient ones travel in the wind, but I hope that's not messing with the mic. And, Yeah, thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you hit that notification button so that you find out every single time we upload a new episode. We really want to give a special shout out to everyone that sends us love, beloveds, and appreciate loving what we're doing, the assignment that we've been given. We really, really just give thanks to you for that, for the good vibes that you send us through our emails, etc., etc. So, with a special message from the ancient ones, today they're asking, can you be trusted? Can you be trusted to walk into heaven, to walk into paradise? Have you done the necessary work that you won't try and trip yourself up or trip other people up? Because we're going into, a thousand years of the golden ages, or whatever they want to call it, a total restoration. And what they've said in the revelations is not exactly how it's going to play out. Maybe that's how it's going to play out in Babylon, but there's so many things that they haven't covered. But can you be trusted with this information to know how it really ends, to be a part of the great beginning? Because the reason the ancient ones want to know if you can be trusted is because now we're back into a season where certain powers and certain capabilities and certain giftings can be, bestowed upon you. Where if you feel you have a leadership role, the great kings and queens of past will come and walk with you, and even what the biblicals call anoint you with the Spirit. Put that Spirit in you. Put the Spirit of Haile Selassie in you, Put the Spirit of Shaka Zulu in you. Put the Spirit of, Steve Biko in you. That revolutionary spirit. All those spirits are still here. Their signature is still here. Their storyline is still here. And even further back, the spirit of the ones who created astrology, Queen of Sheba, and the great queens of astronomy, they're all here. And I know there's many of my sisters who feel that they are the queen mothers in such a time as this. The priests and priestesses, their spirit still reigns. Their spirit is still here, beloveds, but we were just disconnected from that aspect of the spiritual world because they operate on such a higher level spiritually. And we never had access to that because we were always trapped in the Mzungu narrative, and they can only go so far. So because we were in their vibration, we could also only go so far. But we've broken out of that. As I keep saying, we've hit the tipping point. The war's been won, however you want to look at it. And so because of that now, we have access to higher levels of knowledge, higher levels of information. And many will be going through very personal initiations in their own lives, like the days of old. The priests who conducted the initiations, they're there in the spiritual realm, ready to initiate you and to bestow on you incredible power. You don't need to be acknowledged or recognized by anybody on this earthly realm. But can they trust you? You see, for us, what we have to have is faith. They say faith is little as a mustard seed, but just have the faith, the courage, the boldness. Have a willingness to hear what your spiritual team is sharing with you, because your spiritual team are your spiritual, bodyguards. They're your spiritual gatekeepers. And when, some high priestess may approach and be like, yo, we want to work with Dr. Mumbi. And my spiritual team would be like, she's ready, she's not ready, okay, come and join the team as we watch her, etc., etc. Because the higher levels of power, beloved, you have to be trusted. Because with incredible power comes incredible responsibility. And our ancient ones and our ancestors had incredible power, but they also moved with incredible responsibility. And so as they want to bestow these gifts on us, so that you can go and stand before a lake and sing, and like every freaking pollution in that lake goes out. You send a healing vibration that restores everything. Remember Elijah and the dry bones? That's a real thing, beloveds. Where your voice can go and penetrate, the lost minds and plant a seed that must grow. But when the ancestors and the ancient ones are working with you, that thing is superpower. That thing is like amped up. And you can achieve so much more and go so much further, but can they trust you? And you see, to know if you can be trusted, you have to know if you can trust yourself. If you love yourself enough to do the necessary work when you feel like it or when you don't feel like it. To have the necessary self-discipline where you keep pushing forward. Where if they give you, you know, the indication that you need to let go of some people of our life in your life, you let go of them without hesitation. When they show you that it's time to transition out of a habit, you take the first step, and then they'll make it much easier for you. Because we still have to act out the physical, beloveds, but we have so much help in the spiritual that we've been locked out of until such a time as this. So can you be trusted? Do you have the necessary self-discipline? Do you love yourself enough to die and resurrect? Are you willing to say goodbye to your old life so your new life can be born? Are you willing to walk it out of hell and into heaven and leave all your hellish thoughts, hellish emotions, hellish habits behind? It's easy to be in paradise, beloveds, physically. I'm in a paradise right now at the foothills of Mount Zion. But the struggle comes mentally. The struggle comes here where you could be. It's like you've had terrible relationships and you haven't worked on yourself, and then you meet the perfect person. But because you still have the paranoia and the grief and the anger of being cheated on and this happening and that happening, you can't even full joy, not enjoy, and the joy, you know what I mean? You can't fully, just bask in the bliss and glory of this beautiful relationship because that past is still holding you. And these are the chains, beloveds. This is the work that we need to do. These are the chains in our mind that we need to release. If you've been betrayed before, don't carry that sense of betrayal with you. Don't carry that energetic signature with you. If you've been hurt and disappointed and taken advantage of, the matrix is gone, beloveds. And that's why it's necessary to do the necessary cleaning. Paradise is here. It's waiting for us. But we don't want to walk in there contaminated. And we won't be allowed to, beloveds. That's just the level, the ways of where we're at. Can you be trusted? And you see in how you talk in the kind of discussion, if you're still debating, if you're still arguing any kind of narrative or storyline in the Babylon system, you can't be trusted. If you're still supporting one narrative or another, you can't be trusted. I love it. There's a brother who reached out to me and he's like, I really, I appreciate, love everything you're saying about men, women, blah, blah, blah. And I've always felt that way. And he's like, but bottom line is all of this is hearsay because none of us were really there. And that's the thing. Like, Babylon has made the stories so important. And the stories are central to the mass confusion that we're in right now. So can you be trusted to do the necessary work and to hold yourself, to have the necessary self-discipline where you won't have to prove a point, you won't have to be right, because those things, the triggers are still in us, right? The triggers of anger, the triggers of pain, they're still in us. We have to continuously release them. So when we have an opportunity to express it, we don't, and that's how it fades. We won't walk into paradise perfect. But let's continuously do the work so, we're more perfect than we were yesterday. And that's how it should always be. And it's not even about perfection, it's about elevation. But those are stories for other days. Tuko pamoja.